The world we live in seems very simple, unique, and still. It seems that it has always been the same as it looks at the moment, and man has always lived the same life as he is living in it. But it is not so at all. The facility with which man has arranged his needs in today's time has never done this before. Food, shelter, and survival have become much more assured than ever before. Man's fight has become less of nature and more of his social contradictions. But 99% of human history tells a different story than this. And interestingly, it is the history of many human species, one of which is today's modern man, who is still in the fight for survival, and today has been able to set the story of his father. Our story begins 1,000,000 years ago when the tribe of Homo Knight first split, and we separated from our cousins apes. 28 million years ago, our tribe, the genus Homo, came into existence. It feels good to think of ourselves as the only ones who have been in the eyes of mankind, but this is not based on reality. On the contrary, when Homo sapiens came into existence 200,000 years ago, there were 6 other human species like us on Earth, which were very compatible with us in terms of their intelligence and structure. Some of them were very successful in the fight for survival. For example, the Earth remained until about 2 million years ago. That is, about 10 times more than the present humans. The last of these species disappeared from Earth about 10,000 years ago, the cause of which is not yet known. Only 10% of modern man's DNA is similar to ancient humans' DNA. That is why it is difficult to know whether they died due to lack of means of life or some other species killed them. Well, whatever happened, the eyewitness truth is that we are the only ones left in our family now. 28 million years ago, the man knew how to use tools, but for 2 million years, no one could make enough progress. Then he learned to use fire, which meant cooking food, which meant the availability of nutritious food, which increased our brain development. Fire also meant light and heat at night, making it easier for humans to fight the cold. This could not only keep predatory animals away, but it also helped in hunting. About 300,000 years ago, humans, including many human species, began to live in small social groups, hunting and collecting food. They had a fire to burn, stone tools, and tents to sleep on, and they were also burying the dead. But most importantly, they had invented a language to speak, which was probably much simpler than today's languages. But because of this, humans had a tool to exchange their experiences. That is, humans were now able to pass on their experiences to the next generation, unlike other species. Let's move forward with a question. If we have a time machine, how far can we go back in the past to bring our children, who, if given the life of the modern world and trained for some time, the viewer will not be able to distinguish that these children are not of that era? Scientists have different perspectives on this question. Physically, today's man came into existence 200,000 years ago, but perhaps going back 70,000 years, we can find a man with more power than a modern man in terms of behavior. Before that, children's brains may not have undergone the fundamental genetic changes that were necessary for speaking a modern language and thinking discretely thinking. About 50,000 years ago, human inventions increased tremendously. Tools and weapons became more sophisticated and civilization became more complex, because now man was able to speak a more complex language due to having a multi-purpose mind. So, he could transfer and receive information with more details. In this way, humans were able to cooperate better with each other during hunting. In this way, we began to possess certain qualities and deeds that had not been the legacy of life before. For example, we began to spread knowledge rapidly, passing on the acquired knowledge to the next generation and gaining access to more depth of knowledge based on the knowledge available. Before this, the exchange of information across generations was possible only through genetic means, which was insufficient. 50,000 years passed after that, and human evolution did not see any qualitative difference. Our ancestors lived as relatively organized social animals in many animals, but this form of them does not make them inferior to today's humans, because you cannot build a 100-story building without the knowledge of building a small house. Our present knowledge today, on which modern civilization is based, is chosen by our ancestors. But apart from this, they were the most skilled animals in the war of survival of their time. Their senses were faster than ours. In his mind, the map of the hunting ground was preserved as if today's man had a Google map on his mobile. He was also more powerful and agile than today's man in terms of size, as if there was an athlete because of his daily routine. They were also able to make many tools that required a lot of skill. Apart from this, he was also socially richer than today's men. For survival, a single person needed so many skills that perhaps the mind of an ordinary man of that time was bigger than today's man in terms of its size. Collectively, perhaps we know a lot more than the humans of that time. But individually, perhaps our information is less than that of a common man of that time. Well, the journey of history progresses, and about 12,000 years ago, agriculture started from them in different parts of the earth, with these things started changing very fast once again. Earlier, it was necessary to have all the skills for the survival of man, but now the division of human labor has come into being, and they started relying on each other to provide for the necessities of human survival. That is, now humans could master one field, but if someone was skilled in making tools, someone was skilled in growing crops. If someone was an expert in rearing savages, someone would have the ability to invent. As agriculture became common, civilization also began gradually. Agriculture gave us a reliable and potential source of food that for the first time enabled humans to build ration boxes to secure their overproduced food. Since the defenses were shared, humans came close to each other and started living in the form of communities. Defense structures began to come into existence to defend communities, and human beings needed organization, the state, because the more organized humans were, the faster the productive and evolutionary process would have been. From village to cities, kingdoms, and kingdoms came into being from kingdoms. Contacts of humans living on different parts of the earth began to grow, which led to a rapid increase in art and invention. 500 years ago, the scientific revolution began. The revival of mathematics, physics, chemistry, astronomy, and biology changed our earlier knowledge to a very standard extent. Soon after, the Industrial Revolution broke out in the world, which laid the foundations of the modern era, which made labor easier and a large part of humanity able to accelerate this journey of human progress. After this, a series of revolutions started in the fields of knowledge, which gave existence to today's modern world by making electricity, computers, the internet, smartphones, and numerous inventions. To reach today's man, the man had to go through 125,000 generations. The first human being who was like us in appearance came into existence about 7,500 generations ago. Civilization came into existence 5,000 generations ago. 20 generations ago, we started science, and we are probably the first generation to use the internet. Today, we are living in the most developed era of humanity. Not only have we influenced the landscape, climate, and evolution of different species, but we have also raised the flag of our greatness on it. We have also built a house for humans suspended in space. We have not only been able to send our machine messengers to other planets, but have also been able to look deep into the depths of time with the help of mechanical eyes. Today's high school student has more knowledge of the universe than a scholar who passed away a few centuries ago. In short, our home in this universe is this earth, and we are the kings of this earth. But there is another side to the picture. Perhaps we've not changed at all since we passed away 70,000 years ago. Man has enough food resources to satisfy the hunger of the entire human race. But still, today's man is dying of hunger. Our shopping malls are full of clothing, but a large part of humanity is deprived of proper clothing. Today, our medical institutions are piling up medicines, but our human beings are dying due to a lack of medicines. We have overcome nature. We are no longer afraid of earthquakes, and fear of lightning does not bother us anymore. Now we have to fight floods, but now we are afraid of humans. Do not know when the world made by man will be destroyed at the hands of humans. Therefore, wisdom requires that the history of 6 million years of struggle should not be destroyed by a few greedy and selfish capitalists. Human history requires that it be prepared once again for one final battle, and the legacy of the human race should be taken away from these looters and made a collective asset of the children of Adam, so that humanity can touch the mirage for which it has been struggling for centuries. In the future, inshallah, Allah will soon come to your service with another excellent article.